I was going to school when suddenly I felt someone pushing me to the ground. Ouch! I screamed. I fell on my side, but before I got the chance to get up, I felt someone handcuff me. At first, I got excited and thought it was my crush from school acting all playful with me. I mean, I've been sending him signals the past few weeks. But then I heard a car coming and someone screaming, "Get the door open, hurry!" What? As soon as I realized that someone was attacking me, I started screaming for help, but no one was around. I struggled to free myself, but my kidnapper was so strong. He wouldn't let me go. Then he dragged me into a minivan and closed the door behind. I was claustrophobic, so it was not long until I passed out. I woke up later having the worst headache of my life. I was laying on a bed in a small, old, dusty room. I was confused for a bit, but then I remembered what had happened. Who the hell brought me here? I headed to the door and started knocking it hard. I screamed at the top of my lungs, "Get me out of here! Hello? Someone! Get me out of here!" Someone responded, "Hey you, we're coming in a second." I stopped yelling. I put my head on the door trying to eavesdrop, and I heard someone saying, "She's not the one, you idiot! I told you she's blonde. This one has brown hair." Wait, are they talking about me? I heard their footsteps coming toward me, so I took 2 steps back. The door opened and a young man walked in. He was handsome, so hot. I'm talking Noah Centineo hot. He looked at me and said, "Listen, sorry. This was a game. We're aiming to fake kidnap another girl, for fun, but my friend picked you by mistake." What? I yelled at him, "Are you freaking kidding me? You almost gave me a heart attack, and you say this was a game? I'm going to call the police." The guy got scared and he started sweating. I looked at him, shaking, not knowing what to do. He said, "I'm sorry, I promise it was just a game. We didn't mean to hurt you at all. We had planned this to trick a friend. Please, we're just two stupid high school boys." Seeing him so confused and stressed made me feel for him. So I said sarcastically, "You losers, I thought you were a badass gang that kidnapped me to blackmail my father. Move, I need to go out." I took my bag and headed to the door. The guy had a stupid smile on his face and said, "Wow, that easy?" I didn't respond. I just got out, ordered a taxi, and went back to school like nothing had happened. They just ruined my morning, that's all. I thought that I would never see that guy again, but to my surprise, a week later I found him working in a fast food restaurant that opened recently in the area. He was the cashier. When he saw me, he said, "Here comes the strongest girl I know." I smiled and said, "And here is the wimpiest boy I know." He laughed and handed me the change with a piece of paper that had his number. It said, "I would love to take you out. Here is my number if you are interested. Nolan." Smiley face. At first, I didn't want to call him, but then I kept thinking about how cute he was and that we would make a great couple. I've never had a boyfriend before, and I really wanted to experience what it's like to date. So at night, I sent him a message. "Meet me for coffee tomorrow around 5 o'clock at JoJo's? Amy." He instantly replied, "Sure, Wonder Woman," winky face. So we met. Nolan was so charming. It was like he read the magical book of how to be the perfect boyfriend and did everything accordingly. He had a red flower with him. He gave it to me and said, "You two are both alike, soft, attractive, and breathtakingly beautiful." It melted my heart, and it wasn't long until we started dating. I fell in love with him, and soon I invited him to my house. Nolan was stunned by what he saw. He didn't know that my dad was that rich. My house was more like a mansion, and I had everything a girl my age could dream of. And Nolan felt so insecure about it. I noticed how he looked at things around with utter shock, like he never imagined being in such a place. "Is there something wrong?" I asked. He muttered, "No, no, it's just that you're really rich." "It's just my dad, not me," I said, hoping that it'd make him feel more comfortable. Unfortunately, it didn't. After a few visits to my house, Nolan became more and more annoyed by the fact that I had everything. He was subconsciously thinking about it all the time. Every time he bought me a shake, he said, "You've probably had better." Or if he bought me a gift, he said, "Sorry, that was the only thing I could afford." His comments pissed me off. So one time, after he said one of his stupid comments, I confronted him. I said, "You know that those comments make you look so insecure. I like you for who you are." Nolan didn't believe me. He sarcastically responded, "So basically, I'm your side puppet." That infuriated me. It was like he wasn't listening to what I was saying. I asked, "What do you mean?" He responded, "I'm just another item to brag about. Look at me, I have someone who's totally in love with me." His comment disgusted me, so I screamed, "Well, if that's how you think, then maybe we shouldn't date at all." He simply said, "Fine," and then walked away. I couldn't believe my eyes. He just turned around and left. I thought we had the best relationship ever, but apparently I was wrong. Nolan just disappeared. He didn't try to contact me whatsoever. It broke my heart, but if that's what he wanted, so be it. But then, 2 weeks later, I found him having dinner with Tamar. Tamar was one of my friends from middle school. She was the Kim Kardashian of our group, the richest and the most spoiled of us all. But I stopped seeing her because she was too full of herself. She always accused me of being jealous of her. If we happened to buy the same dress, she would tell everyone that she bought it first and that I had no sense of fashion whatsoever, and that's why I was copying her. But that was not true. I knew that Tamar's father was wealthy, I mean, richer than my dad, but I was happy with what I had. So I simply stayed away from her because I hated having too much drama in my life. But that made me wonder, how did Nolan end up with her? Wasn't he so insecure about dating rich girls? That bothered me a lot, to the point I decided to ask Tamar about it. I DM'd her over Instagram saying, "Hey, I saw you the other day with Nolan. How did you two get together?" She responded, "Why? Are you jealous? He is the cutest, isn't he?" Her response made me cringe, but I asked anyway. "No, not at all. I think you are a cute couple. He was just my friend, and I wanted to know how you met." And to my surprise, she said, "It's kind of a funny story. Nolan kidnapped her by mistake while he was playing a game with his friends, and they hit it off just after that. That jerk. Was that his trick to pick up girls? Thank God we're no longer together. I was stupid to feel sad after breaking up with him. She can date him as much as she wants to." The next day, Dad called me to his office. He looked worried and disturbed. He asked me anxiously, "Honey, did you see my Rolex watch? I thought I left it here." I answered, "No, Dad. Why?" And he responded, "It's been missing for a while and I can't find it." Then he added, "Never mind. I probably lost it somewhere." I went back to my room, feeling sad about it. That watch was my dad's favorite because Mom had bought it for him before she passed away. He never took it off. Where did it go? I started looking for it everywhere when I suddenly had a weird feeling about it. When Nolan visited me, he used to go 3 or 4 times to the bathroom. When I asked him about it, he said, "I've got a condition." I didn't want to embarrass him, so I just waited for him. Is it possible that he took it? No. No. He's a playful guy, but he's not a thief. I tried to brush it off my mind, but I couldn't. It was bugging me, and I needed to make sure it wasn't him. So I spoke to Tamar again and asked her about Nolan and if she noticed something strange about him. Tamar was irritated. She said that everything was quite fine and she would appreciate it if I stopped bothering her. I was embarrassed, but I plucked up my courage and said, "Hey, Tamar, I promise this is my last question. Did you lose something expensive lately?" I thought she would hang up, but she kept quiet for a while and then said, "You know, come to think of it, I lost one of my diamond rings lately, but I may have forgotten it somewhere." That sneaky man. I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I explained everything to Tamar, how Nolan used the same trick with me and how I suspect that he stole my dad's watch. She was furious that Nolan manipulated her that way. I thought she was more pissed because I dated him first, but anyway, we both decided to get revenge. One night, Tamar invited Nolan for dinner at a fancy restaurant, and while they were having dinner, she excused herself to go to the bathroom. But before she went, she took off her expensive golden bracelet and put it inside her bag. I was sitting at a table next to them, ready with my camera. But to our disappointment, Nolan didn't go for it. We thought he would be tempted to steal it because it was worth thousands of dollars, but he didn't do anything. The date ended and nothing happened. Tamara went back to her house with Nolan. I followed them and I sat in my car waiting outside for Nolan to get out of the house. I wanted to speak to Tamar to figure out our next step. I got bored, so I started scrolling through my Instagram, and then I got a notification from Tamar's account. She went live. What happened? I clicked on the video and oh my God, Tamar was shooting a video of Nolan. She was upstairs and he was downstairs. I watched him as he stole a wooden antique and hid it in his jacket. The comments started popping up. People were shaming Nolan. But the weird part was that many girls recognized him. Some of them said that Nolan was their boyfriend, and they too lost a few things when they were dating him. He was a pro. I called the police while the video was still on, and they arrived 10 minutes later. Nolan was arrested, and he returned all the things he'd stolen from people and spent 3 years in jail, along with his friends who helped him with the fake kidnapping. After the whole thing ended, I went to speak to Tamar. I wanted to thank her for what she did. My father got his watch back, and he couldn't be happier. I thought we could be friends again, but when I called her, she said in a nasty tone, "You don't have to thank me. You're still a loser. Just don't get into trouble again, you stupid girl." Gosh, she'll never change. What do you think of my story? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.